Oh, we're live.
Oh, there we are. We are now live on Facebook. Welcome everybody to Love Speaks Love. And in case you don't know, this is Zahara Celestial.
Hello.
Now, who I'm not going to give an introduction for because you've been on a few times. I'm just opening up Facebook just to double check and share it out. There we go. That's
Hi,
interesting.
Angel. Oh, what?
I was just going to say it was more difficult to share to a page before, but it's I just managed to do that.
Oh, you found us. Yes, Angel. Hi, Sanya, Terry, Gitu. I hope I pronounced your name. Terry and Saskia. Hi. I think we're just still doing technical.
Yes, just bear with us.
Love watching you
Just
speak light language too. Would like to know when and how I can use it. So I have that in to respond to, but Denise always, and I like to start with Denise. We start with the connecting hearts, and
yeah,
we will do that first, and then both of us can respond to that as I've read that out.
all right. I think I've shared that enough. Oh, there we go. Right. Oops. All right. Sorry about that. Technical stuff is proving a little difficult for my little mind this evening.
Hi, Heather.
Okay, so we will just connect our hearts. This being Love Speaks Love, it always feels right just to do the little heart connect at the beginning. So let's bring our awareness to our heart space in the center of our chest. Breathing in love and breathing love into every cell of our bodies. And connecting our hearts together, all of us watching this live, all of us watching the replay or on YouTube. And connecting our hearts to the heart of Gaia. And visualizing a golden web of light and love all around the globe and going deep, deep into the very heart, the diamond crystal heart of Gaia. And sending love from our hearts to all hearts on the planet. To all of the beings of light here with us today. To all of our multidimensional aspects. Our galactic selves, our galactic and star family. Connecting our hearts to the heart of the sun, the moon, and creator source energy. And with our awareness still in our heart space, if your eyes are closed, Open them if you wish. So welcome everybody to Love Speaks Love. I'm Denise, the host, and this is Zahara Celestial. And Love Speaks Love is a platform for people to share their wisdom, sometimes through ceremony. Often there appears to be light language on this. Who knows what will happen today? And we do want to share as well about, we are doing a call next week. Next Tuesday.
Right.
Might be Wednesday, but I think we said originally Tuesday, and then for some reason I was getting Wednesday last week, but yeah, I think it'll be Tuesday.
Okay.
Unless we want it to be Wednesday.
Oh, no.
Have you got a preference?
I like the Wednesday.
All right, Wednesday it is.
It just feels right. Yeah.
All right, brilliant. And this is linked. This is the Sophia Dragon Codes. And shall I read out what we said before?
Yes, and I got something else to read after you read your. Yeah.
So this is about the activation of the cosmic Kundalini. Return to the galactic source void, the womb of all divine. And it's also the activation of our dragon codes. And we'll be linking in with the divine goddess matrix and divine feminine creator, which I'm sure you'll talk about a bit more in relation to Sophia as well.
Oh, wonderful. So this quote ties in with the lovely lady who I'm on a different page, so and I can't remember your name. I'm very sorry. I read you said you question about light language, and this links into what we're going to be doing next Wednesday. This quote links both. The language of the birds is the language of angels, of forbidden knowledge and of life. In Latin, I don't know, I can't read my right. What have I written there? In Latin, avi, or bird, is phonetically the same as angel, ava, and apple, the symbol of forbidden knowledge, and over, life. So avi, avi, and over. It's all very interchangeable. Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden spoke the mysterious primordial language, and this language is symbolized by the apple, provided immense power and abundance to humanity. With this language, the mystics promised, we can heal our world and ourselves, transforming it from wasteland into a garden or a paradise. When in tune or resonating with nature, we bring magic into our lives and an effortless flow of synchronicity. So that's by William Henry, which I don't always resonate with everything he does, but that just it just really spoke to me. So the language of light is an ancient celestial communication. It's a sacred resonance. It is a symphony of the flower of life, divine feminine matrix, that is creation. Divine codes that awaken and realign all in perfect harmony. Awakening, activating our soul to source vibration. So the sacred masculine and the sacred feminine serpent energies are in ecstatic unity. It is the song of the cosmic dragon. There you go. That last bit was me. So I was getting information a few days ago with the angelic codes coming through, and we are discovering source divinity because we're remembering, and there's always going to be a discovery. Source is infinite and more vast than humans can comprehend. And but what I personally was experiencing was it's sort of hard to put into words, really. I express some words there, but there's the mist, for saying some words, the mystery codes are being revealed simply. Because we're at and I've just said this to Denise before we came on live, we're at a choice point. And I don't mean just there's like the culmination of points all coming together, because everything is so multiple, like the flower of life, it goes on and on and on, but there's something that some things we're gathering. And so Sophia, I was told not to read anything about Sophia because that would be from other paradigm resonances, understanding, misconception to what I'm tuning into, which is bringing back the pure essence of divine feminine, which is more than we would say is female or woman. And she holds the source codes, which is all entwined with the cosmic dragon codes. And I'm having to breathe. This is all kind of this feels very immense, so I'm not having to feel like it's you know, when you what's that saying, when you're having to catch your breath, which is interesting. So she's the wisdom keeper, knowledge, wisdom, which goes to all the myths and some understandings we might have about the Garden of Eden and the apple. And then, of course, you have Avalon, which is the Isle of Apples. And Eve took the bite out of the apple, and there you have the serpent. So there's a lot there that we could get involved in talking about, but I don't want to talk about, but that we can get lost down sort of a maze of interpretation and stories and myths that have been handed down that have certain agendas. But in there, I feel there is like high resonance messages that was still weaving through. And anyway, Sophia is holder, keeper of this divine language of the birds, the angelic language, the forbidden knowledge, which is who forbid this? That's a whole very interesting question. But it's no longer, we are waking up. We're the shining ones. The shining ones, often described as the angelic ones. So it's all this keeping ourselves small. It goes to literally the heart of all the thousands of years of lockdown. and so that's why we're in this choice point of where the systems energies are now really trying to lock us down, but they're not, in some ways, in a certain dimension they are, with people who are resonating in a certain in that bandwidth, but it's not succeeding because I'm getting more information now than I ever have. Yeah, so there we go. It feels immense what's coming through. I feel like I would want to kind of like wail, or not, almost like I'm wanting to like kind of give birth out here. We're in immense times. Very joyous. I'm not sad. I'm like, it's just, you know, when you sort of yeah, that's it.
Interesting. And it almost seems that the more the lockdown is, actually the greater the expansion. It's like squashing down this way, and this way we're kind of like just expanding more. Are you feeling you want to do some codes?
Could do. Yeah.
I was just wondering if that was what you were kind of feeling in there.
Yes. What I want to communicate before doing any codes, it's all about birthing new earth and birthing. So it's all new, and yet there's ancientness coming through, and it doesn't have to be logical because it's beyond that. So I can feel my mind searching through. I used to read a lot. I had like books everywhere, piled everywhere. You name it, I read about it. And then I stopped. So in there is probably files and files of stuff. But I realized I wasn't going to find what I was searching for in all the books. It became like it felt like you know, I'm like, this and this. Oh, I'll read about Gnosticism now. Now I'll read about the Essenes now. Now I read about Kabbalah. Now I read about you name it. I sort of read everywhere. Oh, let's try this section. Let's try that section. So I can feel my ego going like, right, let's file through it all and see if you can get this reference, that reference. And it's not happening. It's not about that. It's not about that. So one of the a guided journey I did was it started very much like what I'm doing now. It was just me being very still, and then being aware of a bit of that struggle, and then letting that go, and then then it was with my Patreon peeps, and then it was like, now we're here, right, we're here, now we're there. and everybody went boom. It was, we don't need all that lead in, that kind of it's very glorious, and I don't know, I sometimes could do whatever I do, or you probably do, but there is a letting go, really letting go of the human, really letting go of how I always used to do things. Not needing to paint a picture, letting go of I'm used to using my imagination to get me wherever, and now it's like no, blank, just blank. So it's more really getting to the resonance, and everybody feels it. You don't need a lot of words, a lot of pictures, which is interesting because I'm used to using a lot of words and a lot of pictures, and they're real. It's not that it's fake. It's just a different way of being. So it's all very exciting. And I don't know, it just came into my mind then, but before, each time I'm being able to predict what the government's going to be doing. It's like a week ahead. It's like, oh, they're going to say this now. They're going to do this now. Oh, it's about that. Or there's, each day has a certain resonance, and then I can just feel the different agendas and people's. It's all so transparent at the moment. We were talking a bit beforehand, like sometimes I'm just like feeling exhausted. I think because it's all this holding all this resonance, and it's yeah, so it feels very powerful at this time. We are all waking up, and there's some that still want to be in the hologram, but we are all waking up, because I'm seeing, sensing, and the senses all kind of merge. The different agendas, energies, whatever's. And I did see that I saw that last year with that helicopter from the future that was massive and had the densest energy, that landed on the heath. And then disappeared again. It kind of came in and then it went. It was huge. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm sorry, but it was like, so think they've been plotting. Yeah. So we're in it now. There's no reading about books about people writing about what happened before, or what might happen for the future, or we're in it now. So it just feels different to any other time.
And very different from 2012 as well. There was a lot of expectation around that time, and a lot of, because that date had been in so many of our minds for so long. And then there was almost a bit of an anticlimax kind of feeling afterwards that, oh, the world hasn't changed. Now, I think the world did change, but it wasn't overt. Like, many people woke up at that time, but it wasn't kind of broadcast as a big awakening. But now, when you speak to a lot of people, that's the time that they woke up. So it was like an undercurrent of awakening. And although 2020, I think everyone felt that it was going to be big, but not necessarily in the way that it is. And it's interesting, you and I on this call now, how different the energy is from just when we were talking on Zoom before we actually went live. And then as soon as we went live, the energy changed.
Yeah.
And I feel very still as well, that there's this real feeling of, yeah, it's a really beautiful, still calmness.
Mm.
And there's joy in there as well, but it's kind of like it's a different joy as well. It's a still and calm joy.
Yeah, which I feel is Sophia.
Yeah. And this, I just got the phrase, and this is a funny one, and I'll feel into this. Everything is under control, and not in the and that's a funny one. Like, it's almost like certain. It's almost like there is a want to get everything under control in a different way from how it actually is. And I don't really resonate with the word control, but I think that was just given as a slightly comedy phrase as well. But it's that feeling of everything is actually really fine. Everything is okay.
It's like kind of sort of parental tone, sort of.
Yeah.
And it's funny when you said that, because I was up on Hampstead Heath, and this child was on a scooter and fell off, and then this couple that were, I don't know, quite some distance from me, but I could hear them speaking. She goes, "Oh no, he's fallen off," and because of all this social distancing, nobody's doing it. Nobody's, and I've been noticing how people do want to support one another and help and reach out, but they're like, "Oh, can I give you a hand?" Oh, I had that the other, well, when I last went to the shops, which was quite a while, feels like months ago, but probably was only 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. I had all these bags and things going on, and Gemma, and she said, "Oh, can I give you a hand?" And I was like, and she realized it came out of her mouth before she realized. And I think it's making people realize that they want to give a hand, want to support each other, and yet they're being told they can't. And so anyway, yes, it's sort of a chart that it's part of, it is part of, I thought he kind of went off there, but it felt I wanted to say it anyway. It is part of growing up, falling off the bicycle, and yet with all this health and safety nonsense, which seems all a bit strange with everything else now going on, that you know, children wearing helmets sort of only on a scooter, and I'm like, is that highly necessary? With and it's like that's part of you fall to then be able to get yourself up again, and then when I was on the heath and watching that lady, I mean, it was I want to laugh, but I'm not at her, but it did feel quite comical. Not that she was falling, it's like you only have to walk around and the path just goes up, but she was like adamant she had to kind of try and get up this steep thing, and it's not a proper path. I'm like, but you can see that the path goes on. You could work out that we're not up in the mountains. It's actually, you can see that you're on the path, and now you're trying to get off it to go up here. And her friend was going, "Well, I'm sure if you just walk around." That's what I'm not. But no, she's like, and it became like this huge thing. And I'm like, there's some other, it's like hugely not symbolic, it's real for her. She has to get up this fucking slope. And then she's like slipping down, and she's getting up here. And her friend's going, "You really did this?" And I'm like sitting just there, you know, I'm watching, I'm like, how extraordinary. And then she walks a little bit and then tries it again, and I'm like, she has to feel she can get up this slope, and that I don't know, so she physically can do it, so she can feel she's strong, that she can, but I'm just sort of like, wow. But if she had walked around, she would have seen me and Gemma, the trees. There's a whole valley bit with a little stream, and she obviously didn't know the area. Although if you walk around, you'd have then all these flowers. I'm like, no, she missed all of that. But but it was like, well, you have to, not have to, but it's like, wow, she really was. She had to get that slope. And then I thought, well, given she has to go up that slope, is there an easier way that I couldn't work out logically. I couldn't think, why don't you just walk? Then it was, why don't you just walk around? Okay. But why are you going up it that way? And I wonder if like the angelic ones or the other ones, they're obviously a bit beyond that judgment. Go, how interesting. Or maybe the galactic ones are going, well, I would not have thought of doing it that way. But wow, that you're really making a whole creative experience that sort of in a way she's climbed Mount Everest on a tiny slope, so she doesn't have to climb Mount Everest. Maybe I will have to climb Mount Everest, and I don't know. So anyway, it was extra, and so that's what I feel. I'm observing all sorts of behavior at the moment. And then they walked, and I thought, can you sort of look back? And I don't know. And there's sort of and some people, I don't know. There's this one guy was right near me with his son and dog, and he had glasses on. He was just staring at me. I'm like, yeah, and I smiled, and he was like, I presume, I don't know, that's the lower part. He had mirrored glasses. And I'm like, that's a bit strange. Yeah. So anyway.
Yeah, I still forget sometimes, and then just kind of, because in the first week or so, it was there was some resistance. You know, you wake up and then you're like, oh yeah, that's what we're doing at the moment. And on some levels, we've kind of got used to it, but not completely, really. There was yeah, it's just very bizarre. It's just very you forget, and it's like you've walked into this parallel universe that has just suddenly become a bit crazy, really.
But it's always been crazy, hasn't it? It's just like, it's when we're yeah, it does feel like it's suddenly gone crazy. And somebody who she has
the new normal.
Yes. Person I know who does gong bars around the corner from me, and she has the sun gong, but she's so it's such a powerful gong that she's not been okay for me to meet her gong, because she's saying she's still trying to grapple with the gong herself. She has I think 4, and so she's like, oh, the sun gong. You know, it's a thing. I mean, when I got the Sedna gong, I couldn't unwrap her for a few weeks. She's in the communal hallway. I knew no one was going to nick it, so it's a massive, heavy thing. And then I put her in my own hallway, and then still didn't unwrap her. So then when I used to play her, it was like, whoa, because it's the sound, and she's attuned to Sedna, and it's very deep. It's the root. It's resonating at the root, and then and just the whole everything what it is about. So I can only imagine, because the sun gong is also written much bigger, and so I totally honor her with no. So are you ready for me to have a look at the sun gong? No. And she's absolutely, she's really lovely. She's a really tall, and it plays in jazz bands. She's a bass player, like massive double bass. And I can't remember why there was a reason why I went off on my brain's not functioning at all. Well, oh yeah, she I called her because I thought I haven't spoken to her for a little while, and she said, oh, I'm on my phone to her sister, will you be around? I'm like, I just said, it's all gone a bit crazy here, and that's it now. I've gone quantum, so this is just a goodbye, because I'm out of here now. I'm just going cosmic, and and I'm like, it's all a bit much. It's just like, and she laughs and says, "I'll call you back." And it's like, going anywhere? I'm not going. I don't know really, because now I feel I don't. Part of me was like, I know I was joking, but another part of me is like, I wouldn't surprise me anything happening now. Really, it really. This is where we're at now, because things that were hidden, and I get like little inklings of, or I used to get like occasionally premonitions or of things like on a major scale. I now I didn't get a premonition of all this though. I thought that's quite interesting. I got the tower that had all these people die. I had a whole premonition of that. I thought it was actually happening. Then it happened the next day. But I thought, well, there's some reason why I've not been. And I think that's why, because we're at the choice point. We're meant to be not get a premonition of this. We're in it now, so that we make the choices now.
Yep.
Not back then, not getting heads up. Some of us got in all March, and I was getting, oh yeah, something's happening in March. That was it. I don't know, maybe other people did, but I didn't, which is interesting, because I was getting more and more. And I've always had that, like when I've been in big groups, I would know if there was like a danger, if that was a human, especially. I would get, I'd get a warning. That happened to a couple times, and both those times, one they were both sort of psychotic. One of them was, I'm like, you got to get this person out of this. It was a big retreat, and I said that it's not going to. But they hadn't done anything, so the people said, we can't get her to leave. We can't do that. She hadn't done anything yet. So she's going to. You certainly did. So I think that's why, because there's so many of us now in tune that there's a reason why we weren't. And it's not because it's all that I don't feel. No, it's not because we were blinkered in a negative way. Yeah.
Can you expand on the choice point at all?
For thank you for that. Maybe you can. For it, I personally, so what I don't say, I kind of take it for granted that if it doesn't resonate, it doesn't resonate. It's like we're all so different. But anyway, I'll just put that out there. If it doesn't resonate, I have no attachment to. This is just my experience, but I thought I'd just say it now. For a few weeks now, it doesn't seem very romantic, and the words don't sound. But divine will, our will. We talk about being sovereign. I think we our human can grasp it at a certain level, ego, mind level, but those people. Certain people who have, like Lisa Transcendence Brown, I do feel that she's moved. She was like a real way shower. She had to battle through loads of stuff on her own, ahead of a lot of us. So she will speak of things, and you can feel the resonance. There's a knowing there. So there's there is a point on our journey. There's a point in my journey, I'll say for me, where I've done a lot of the shadow work. I've done a lot. I've experienced a lot, so I could really kind of, I think, fast track it to get to this point. Points. I will get to that about points. To where we arrive at a place. Everything is so hard to talk about beyond 3D, because the language is all 3D. We arrive and we keep arriving, and we have arrived. But anyway, we arrive, and there's a point, never mind about it makes sense quantumly. We get to a point where we make a choice. We've done enough. There's like kind of the scales. We've been weighted down. With the weight that there's a scale. There's scales, and we've been the density there that's kind of it's not been balanced, and we've been like all this density. And then we've been doing the shadow work and lightening up, and then it's kind of got like this. So there gets a point, sometimes it can feel like it, but there gets a point when there's enough balance, and there's still substance there, and it's needed. Like the lady going up that steep, it's all perfect. And maybe she broke her leg, and now she realizes she can go up that bank. Who knows? I was thinking maybe that that's why she had to go up that, and why, who knows. So there's a point when you've done enough, not that you're all Buddha, but I've still got but there's a point where you still got it stuff, and then you choose not to play in that resonance anymore. It's a choice.
Yeah.
So, but you have to have done enough of that. That's where I am. And if that sort of it makes it, you do enough of it and you have to do it. There's no shortcut. Everyone says it. And it's terrifying at times. I don't know, whatever your stuff might be on grief or fear or abandonment or isolation or death or pain or suffering, or whatever it is, attached to yourself or others or whatever it is, loss, abuse, neglect, I don't know, trauma, which is life. There's a point where, and that's what I've been doing. That's what I've been with. Okay, I've done it. Oh my God, I have done enough. I understand in all my different selves the resonance of that, the feeling of it. I can't explore it anymore because I know I've really gone there. Yeah. I have gone there to the, I've really gone there to, like, I even had it for this call. I might just got this sort of, it's like, because you're not following your intuition, don't do that. Because now these times, because of the resonance of fear, if I get fear, it can quite easily could then be magnified because it's being, and that's the gift. So it's why we're being, I suddenly realize why we're being fast tracked. It's like if I have a bit of a fear come up, because it's magnified, multiplied collectively. It's like it'll really dig everything out of that. Rather, it would have probably trickled away, or I could have like done a little bit, and then I could have then distracted myself, or I'd be doing something. Now it's like I can't. It's like it's just like mirrored back, and then I'm like, oh, and then it just can't. Then I feel it's being released so much quicker because so it is of service, and that's a funny way about. Bit like it wasn't wrong, that woman going up that steep bank, because I knew there was a reason, which is a divine reason. My logic was like, why is she doing that, and she's missing out on this, and could even say, oh, isn't she being stupid, why is she not listening? And but it's like she was in her own, I'm like, maybe she had, I did feel like something had happened. If I tune in, that something had happened to her physically, and she wanted to feel that she could climb that slope. It was very steep and slippery, and so the choice is we're alive now. We could die tomorrow. We're being presented it. I don't feel that, but that's what the but then people are in denial of it still. That's what but that's the kind of the script is, I know there's so many, we know what the script's going, but so that's another gift. It's like my mother died, she had it for 10 years, cancer, died when terrible long length. It was horrific. It was horrific how she was, it was horrific. when I was 19, bones, shell of a person in pain on morphine, terrible, and didn't have she wasn't able to be mothering to herself or to me, or so the whole thing was tragic. But I valued life because witnessing my mother go through that, and she bore me when she was not fully alive, because she'd had nervous breakdowns, electric shock treatments that done something to her brain, because she'd been catatonic, then had the electric shock treatments, then had another breakdown, then had me after, and so I chose to that mother. And then, I'm not going into all but my father was like a murderous lunatic in a way. So there was not safety. So being alive, I chose to be alive. When as a child, it was like it was going to get worse. It was before it just got really bad with my mother and my father, and I came out my body, and I chose to stay here. And I felt this divine presence, and I say that in a sentence, but I think people who've had it's almost like a near-death experience, because it's like I didn't have to die to get it. Yeah. So this is what we're in, a near-death experience, moment after moment after moment, where we've been given the opportunity collectively and therefore individually to choose life, to really, for once, and I feel like shouting it and swearing my head off at this point, because it's like, for God's sake, when we talk about waking up, and I've colluded with the system, and because I'm still human, and I want, I need to function, feed this body, and etc. But I've always like, why are people walking around like zombies? Oh, that's why people are obsessed by zombie films. Makes sense to me now. So anyway, I would sort of deviate. So we talk about being sovereign. So the whole shining ones, that's another thing shining ones are the she, which were giants in the Celtic mythology of Ireland mostly. The Tuatha De Danann, the she, are the gods of the fairy realm, and the Tuatha De Danann. It's probably not pronounced correctly. And they talked about the shining ones, who are like massive, like I don't know, really big, 12 foot, who had knowledge, knowledge, and advance the human race. It's all in that law. Then you get it in that guy who was talking yesterday, that my ears pricked up when he talked about the shining ones that are in the Sumerian literature, and I'm like, here we go again. They're like angels, and it's like, and it is very much, you get the fallen ones, the angelic race. Oh, we call it, we think, well, no, I think they're the galactic ones, aren't they? So that's why it's all the ascended galactic family of light, because they're all kind of on that scale, huge. And in the last few weeks, we've been getting experiences of being golden ones and feeling they're being really tall. But we have to not have to to experience that. It's getting outside a comfort zone, and we choose that though, because we have our own free will and we are divine. So there's alignment between our human self and our will attached to that, and our divinity and our divine will. And that's where I've got so far. There's like a merging, and somewhere in there's a divine flame. I don't know, I haven't got it all mapped out, but I've been feeling there's been a merging. There's somehow almost like the heart with the universal heart. There's a merging. I feel like the chakras are, because the pineal is separate from the third eye, and that's an interesting interesting thing I did then. You've got the third eye, and then you've got the pineal, and people go, well, the third eye is the pineal, and some people go, actually the third eye is separate from the pineal, the third eye sits in the pineal. I did just an illustration of that, but I think because they are linked, but they are separate, but they're merging. That's just anyway. So that's me waffling. But you know, when you but there's this classic image, and people do it when they go mad, they run outside naked, and I was just fascinated by that. What is this thing of and there's like that freedom of what, wearing a mask and social constructions, and you want to deconstruct it, and the control, everything's got to be under control, and sit on the madness, sit on the, but they don't, you know, and there's something about running around naked. And we're born naked, and that whole thing of Garden of Eden, when they were naked and then they had shame, and there's a big thing about the shadow and working on shame. I mean, there's so much about the Garden of Eden that's so core to our journey, but it's all been distorted and warped, but it's still there. It's got all the messages but there is a point to my talking, that we get to a point and we make the choice. We don't need to cathartic. We don't need to work with and assimilate and release and I don't know, whatever. There's like, so then the golden DNA activation, that was a choice. There was we all came on there and we chose. I mean, I had deep shadow work following that. I did it twice. Once on my Patreon, it was like the Palladians were leading us there to the biggie. And then it was like, you're choosing that. And then I did like massive clearing twice. I finished. Have you got anything wise to say?
I think you've covered it all.
Oh, I've covered it all. I think. So I sort of feel like people were drumming and making sounds because it was Thursday, 8 o'clock, and I thought I'd love to do that with everybody, but I feel they're fitting in the programming. Oh, the NHS. I mean, yeah, what people are doing a wonderful job, but there was something about it that I'm like, can we just sort of, aside from that, just come together and make a noise? What you know, why do we do it for like 5 minutes then? I don't know, it's something about it I didn't feel comfortable. I don't feel comfortable about, so I didn't do it. I haven't been doing it, but why? I don't know, I just conformity and what is normal, and so much, you know, how you dress, how you speak, and it takes a lot of effing energy all the time. Oh, I haven't done this right, I haven't put this on, I need to do that, or I haven't got, I'm like, who gives a whatever? And then if we stop doing that, what happens? What, I run around naked? Am I going to be carted off? Probably not, because it's social distancing. Oh, she's got no, it's she's now got a it's morphed. The virus has morphed and affected the brain. It's a new that's what I'm fascinated about. I don't know. I went to art college, and there was people. Again, it was observed the people who wanted to find who they were, but then were still conforming. And there's one person who then did different drugs, and she went on speed, and and you're never quite sure whether she was on the speed or not on the speed. And there's one person who I could tell he was faking being slightly eccentric, but then he started to believe it. I felt it. He shifted, and then he didn't stop. And I'm like, it did make me think, you know. He went from, I think you're playing there, to now you're in it, you're believing it. And I thought, have I got that wrong? How can you choose? Maybe he was always a bit weird. And I started questioning what my perception of him was. I mean, the art college is full of people pretending to be crazy. I don't know. There's that whole, again, now I found that very interesting. The crazier were, or like Van Gogh was mad, cut off his ear, and that's why he was an amazing artist. It was like this myth that really pissed me off, that you'd have to be crazy to be creative. I'm like, that is not true. What is that about? And then you'd have, you have to be a starving artist, and then the elite, the establishment would then at some point decide that your art was amazing, and then it would be cost millions. That's why I left the art college. I left art college and I couldn't draw or make any images for like 30 years because it's like, it's all fucked. I'm like, it's just like, this is not why I went to art college. This is all weird. And it's like, creativity isn't about being mad or depressed. This whole thing, you know, if you the highs and lows, if you got bipolar, and you know, you're sort of relying on the extremes. I'm like, so it took me a little while to unprogram from that to then make art when I'm not trying to fit into that programming, which I did try and think, oh, maybe I got to be all intense and you know, up all night and just like really depressed and tense. I'm like, no. Can I be happy and be creative? Yeah.
Definitely. I loved what you said. Like, there's so much that you said. I don't know which to pick out, but the collective near-death experience, that really stood out for me, and I hadn't really thought of it in those words, in that term. And you know, it's the end of a cycle. So as we go, whenever we experience the end of a cycle, it is like the death of something, and we do experience those emotions that are linked to that as well as we go through that.
Yeah.
And that diagram that you did was amazing, with some of the stages of grief.
Yeah.
You know, like denial, bargaining,
anger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eventually leading to acceptance. And that's such a biggie. And that was something that I realized that I was working with this week as well. Because when we're resisting something, it's so much more hard. You know, it makes it so much
denser, because we're pushing out against it, aren't we? So it's like,
and when we resist, we do tense up as well.
Yeah. You know, we go hold on to it,
and we
yeah. I mean, I cottoned on to that because I've had a lot of fear. So I get fear, and then my body goes like that. So I'm holding on to the fear. So then when I feel fear, now I go, relax. You can still feel the fear because your system's going, there's a reason why I'm frightened. Oh my God, what's going on? That's what my system's doing. It's like, right, you can still feel the fear, but relax with it, which feels like it is possible. And I'm like, oh, so I'm allowing to feel, because that is where I am, because it's the not allowing, which really, I keep swearing, but it really, that's what the problem is. It's like, I'm denying where I am. So that is madness making. because possibly. So he's like, okay, I'm in fear. I shouldn't be afraid. There's something wrong with me. I'm weak. I don't want to feel frightened. Okay, so then there's a whole layering and hammering it down. Don't make it, push it down, push it down. There's something wrong with you. Oh, I'm alone. There's something wrong with me. Why am I feeling this again? Oh no. And it just goes, shame, 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 shame. So then, okay, then if you allow the pureness of it, the emotion, the energy, and you're not going like this, like that, that's because you're like going, boom, that's what I've been doing for like years. Like, you know, and that's anger, and it's like torment, and it's like another thing. So it's like, okay, gentleness, I feel, and then I can relax and I feel the fear, and then it's gone. Oh, so maybe the fear wasn't the issue. So that's been my breakthrough over periods of time. And so I'm seeing it everywhere. To people, yeah, including myself. Yeah. But the state, yeah.
Yeah, it starts with acknowledgement, doesn't it? Acknowledging that it's there, and not trying to push it away as well, but acknowledging that it's there.
And that's a choice. I keep saying it's a choice. Someone else can't do it for us. We can't think our way out of it. We can't distract ourselves from it. And there's a point with committing and surrendering. So there's these things that we think are opposite, actually aren't. To relax with the fear, to commit but surrender, and then we choose by allowing. There's how we've been polarizing things is like actually they work in partnership. And then there's that culmination, the choice point, when we realize I've done enough of this. It's the allowing, being honest.
Yeah.
And I don't know about how I don't know how one can actually support another person choosing and being honest. It takes faith, love. I obviously chose to have a lot of experiences, but I chose to be able to, I don't know, come out my body and have those. I'm like, I get visited. I think things happen. I've had things physically happen. So I've chosen that. And still I felt full of doubt, even though I was like, what else has got to happen to me? So not to have and to really die and then come out, and then I think then you don't, but I haven't had that. But then maybe that's me, that I need to be climbing up and down that slope so I can give other people a hand up the slope. So maybe that's why I'm still battling with my ego, so that those other people that are also battling with their ego go, or if she can hold that resonant and the resonance, because I can relate to her because she's managing to hold both. Because I know I move around a lot, hence how I speak. I used to be really talking about control. I used to control how I would speak because of my dyslexic brain, which is very like that anyway, very quantum. I've stopped doing that, which because people wouldn't, I would lose where I was going, and or I'd have to speak very fast in order, because I'd be holding a billion trillion threads. But I don't do that now. But anyway, now I've lost my track again. But yeah, we're all divine wisdom keepers. We all have divine knowledge, and what I find when I work with people is so often somebody will ask a question and I don't want to be like, seem like a pain in the butt, but I will then put the question back. There's it, well, how do you feel? It's as simple as that. Someone will give me the answer. I go, I'll put the question back with a different resonance. Or like I did a few weeks ago, I played with the words and showed that it was the attachment to the words spoken in a resonance. And then when I gave them a different resonance, it had a completely different meaning. So I didn't actually have to go into a whole analysis or a deconstruction or journey or shadow work. I just said the sentence in a different way. That's like the choice. So there's I think it's quite radical. If it's still working in a certain way, you're not arrived at certain places because you're still needing to work in a certain way. And you know, we're like, I don't know where we are. I mean, compared to the galactic beings who've transcended their physical bodies and whatever's, you know, but they don't have judgments. But yeah, but it's so prevalent and so being acted out. There is only one way out. Is to choose, isn't it? To me, it's obvious because it's so obvious. It's so magnified. It's like, am I going to go crazy with it or not? A lot of us have chosen not to go crazy with it, even though we're holding a lot of stuff, and that's us choosing. Because in one way, I'm thinking, why am I not going crazy? You know, it's just like, why it's so potentially really depressing with all the agendas and the whatever's going on. We're making choices all the time. I'm choosing not to choose to go down there because I want to bring in the light. Always wanted to do that. Clean my glasses just for hell of it. And that's why it's an amazing time. And part of me is like, doesn't want it to end prematurely. So I don't want the heavier agendas to win, though I don't think they will. But yeah,
it's an amazing time to reflect as well, isn't it? It's an amazing opportunity without what's the word? Without the distractions. I was going to say extractions. Without the distractions that we normally have in place, it's an amazing opportunity to go within and to look at those aspects of ourselves that haven't been looked at.
Those he wrote a book, I can't remember the title of it, Maladome Some, African Shaman. And he was kidnapped from his family village by this is not an attack on Christians, but they were born again, whatnot, Christian people, I don't know, a certain lot, a group, who were trying to, you know, save people. And he was only a child, went and then couldn't speak his language. If he did, they put a goat's head that had been a real goat on to wear, and oh my god, it was just like they got some idea about the devil. I suppose it's a goat looking, I don't know, it's some weird. Anyway, he escaped, and it was like hundreds of miles he walked back. And he then had missed the usual initiation because they knew he was going to be a shaman, but he got initiated later. And when he talks about his initiation, it's real. I read this like so many years ago, and I remember reading it. It's like when I had the feeling when I was reading Carlos Castaneda.
Yeah.
Though I couldn't cope with the last two books. I started thinking it's fake. The last two books. That was just me. There's something a bit weird about them. Anyway, when I was reading the other ones, I kept reading them. It was like really like, oh, a bit like when I first saw The Matrix. It's like, it's real. It really kind of did something to my brain. But Malidome Some's softer version of all that. And somebody bought, showed them, because they'd not had TV or internet or whatever, and they showed episodes of Star Trek. And they said, it's real. And I like, no, it's TV, there's Hollywood cameras. They went, no, it's real. And the thing is, that I love it in the book, because it's like, that's me. I'm like, the dreams are real. And people go, no, you just dreamt them. No, they're real. Just like, and now, of course, people are catching up, talking about quantum and imagination and I'm like, yeah, I told you. real. I'm like, oh, because the part of me also think, am I a bit mad? Am I like Van Gogh, but yeah, well, he cut off his ear because he was given the wrong medication, and he wasn't mad, by the way. So it was because he was on medication, the wrong medication. Anyway, Van Gogh. Yeah, but I saw Malidome Some talk at St James's Piccadilly Alternatives, and his wife was one who I was captivated by. He was very cerebral, because he was the bridge between the West and his village. I probably told you this before, but I'll say anyway, because I don't think I've told everybody else. And so I couldn't, even though I loved his books, I'm like, oh, he's really cerebral. So his resonance, seemed a bit uptight to me, and I'm like, God, it's not how I thought he'd be like. And I thought, well, that's how, it's interesting. He really is a bridge. And his wife was like, her energy was so expansive. She was, and she was like looking around the room, and she, at one point, she just looked at everybody. She said, I can't do what I want to do because you're all sitting in those weird seats. I was wanting to do some drumming and sounding with you, but I don't know how I can do that with this seating like this. And I don't know how you all function. I'm like, oh my God. Because how you are so alone. You all feel so alone because you are alone, because you do not have a connection with spirit and your ancestors. So that's why you're alone. I'm like, oh. Wow. I have seen quite a few people talks and this, that, and the other. And that lady, it was like, wow. I tell you, I would have, I don't know, never mind about Malidome, it's her. It's like, I'm like, yeah, wow. And I felt it, because she was like, then I could feel that she was surrounded by her family of light, and that she could see and so then it's like, okay, so me feeling isolated and alone isn't because there's something wrong with me, it's because I could feel what it's like out there, but everyone's in fucking denial like zombies. And it's just like, or they're saying they're happy, and I don't get it. How can you be happy in a, I don't know. I don't know. And I thought, she makes sense to me. It was because she transmitted, that would be like what we would call in our little circle or bigger circle as codes, it was like boom, 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 boom. So that, like, I don't know, 15 minutes of her talking was one of the most powerful transmissions, for one of another. And make me think, see what she's doing now. But her energy and her honesty, it was healing, profound. It made, I'm like, there isn't anything wrong with me. I'm just being real with probably a lot of what other people are denying that they're feeling. So a lot of things are like, my like terror of death. It wasn't about death. It was the way that the treatment of my mother, the disease, the funeral was like fucking weird. What's all that about? Oh my God. I mean, there was lack of holding. Oh,
in New Zealand, the family stay with the body the whole time until the funeral. The body's never left alone. And they do a haka to welcome the body in, and they have women who are kind of wailing to try and induce the crying.
uh-huh.
It's a very different experience there.
Wow. Mm.
Well,
So I don't know about talking about Sophia and what we're doing next. On the, what will be the 29th, the Wednesday, will it be?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 29th.
Oh, 11, the 11, number 11.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yes, it won't be me talking at length like I have today. It will be, we work really well together, Denise. Denise is just an amazing collaborator and dragon lady. And so we'll be very working in collaboration with journey activation and whatever comes through.
Yeah.
So it won't be a discussion, it will be being in the moment, and bringing forth the codes, the sounding, and any messages. More and more how I'm working is I'm kind of more channeling more. I even when I think I'm not, I've shifted into full like trans channeling, and I'm like, oh, I'm over here, and suddenly I'm hearing myself going, I'm the human. I'm like, at what point did I go slightly to there, because it's kind of, we're collaborating with the galactic one, so it isn't such a big thing now. It's like, oh, I've kind of slightly moved to the side, or the walk in, for one of it, has come in a bit more now, and it's more like that rather than human trans channeling. So but I'm doing that more now, so I'm doing that more now. So this is me very human today, but that's going to be my bit. But
yeah, so it'll be Wednesday, 7, 8, around there. We'll confirm that as well. So activation of the dragon codes, and this is the Sophia, the Sophionic dragon codes, activation of the cosmic kundalini, and return to the galactic source void.
So we're activating like that source point, like the dark center in a flame. It's dark in the middle. So that we're going to that like still point. So we're the inner and the outer are all one. So it's all aligning really. Again, it's really saying, right, I'm choosing this. I'm choosing to be more, to be this, be more of who and all of this. So that's when we say activation is like, it's each of us choosing, and we're needing to be with one another choosing. And it's not an activation of it's, we are all igniting each other.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a catalyst. It's like we're Denise and I will be holding the space for divine magic to happen, and it's needing us to do things collectively. So
and
yeah,
void it's all potentialities in the void as well. It's I often say it's the space it's the space between the tick and the tock. It's the still point. It's the point of all potentialities.
did you watch Babylon 5?
Yes.
There's that character that does the space between the tick and the tock. Oh, is it the guy that's in the Zahara? Oh, I love that character. That he's the elder, isn't he? He's the if people haven't watched Babylon 5, they won't know what we're talking about now. Oh, it makes me want to watch it again. But he says between the tick and between the talk.
Yeah.
It's like, and in between time, he's like, oh, you're dead, you're not dead. Zahadum. Yeah, he's the what do they call him? He's yeah, and it's I love that, because it's like, oh, you think you've got the good guys and the bad guys, and then it's like, and then at one point, yeah, sorry, I have to have a Babylon 5 bit completion of this. I love it when Captain Sheridan goes, and you all, it doesn't go fuck off, but you all get both of you get out of our galaxy, because they're both, there's no bad or good. I just think it's very sophisticated, Babylon 5.
Yeah, and so long ago.
Yeah, and he hasn't really, I mean, it was amazing. It had so many series, and I've got the box set.
I'm not sure I watched it after the first one. After the first series.
But you must have, because that's quite a bit far in.
Is
when
it?
Captain Sheridan dies or not dies, and these.
I thought that was the first series. It's a long time ago.
I don't know. Yeah, I'll have to watch it again. Yeah, between the tick and the talk. Yeah, there's some amazing. Yeah, got me. I think I'll have to start watching it again. There's some bits in it that are like, wow, and yeah, it's a league of its own. I think it's the best. Anyway. Yeah, and we will we're asking a donation of £20. If you can't make that, then message us or do something a bit less. But that's just yeah, we want this to be accessible to everybody. So we'll create some info about that, and it'll be on Zoom, and so there'll be a recording if you can't watch it live. Yeah.
The suggested exchange.
Oh, that's it.
All right, my love.
Okay.
Thank you
for this, for me giving this platform for me to keep talking about.
I love hearing you talk.
Oh, thank you. I think it helps to, and that's why we're creators. It helps to form. We're here to make shape. So that's often how, when I've been in circle, I'll end up talking a story, and then I come out the end of the other story, then I realize why I was telling the story. I have to kind of hear the words to get what I'm thinking. I don't sit and think quietly. All right, maybe that would be a bit more useful. But often when I've done a talking like this or a sharing with somebody, I'll end up writing because I've had to hear it, to shape it, to create it, understand it.
I hear you.
Okay.
So thank you to everybody who's been with us.
Thank you.
Thank you to everyone who will watch the replay or on YouTube. And this will be, I've managed to share it already to the Love Speaks Love page. And my YouTube channel is Inner Peace with Denise, and yours is?
My name, Zahara Celestial.
There we go. And you can also check out Zahara Celestial's Facebook page and your business page. Is that Zahara Celestial as well?
Yes, make it simple. And I've got a website that's, lo and behold, Zahara Celestial. Yeah. So you can easily find me.
Thank you, my love.
Thank you so much.
And I will see you, I'm sure, before Wednesday. But I will see some of you on Wednesday. Bye for now.